Today we're diving into the legend and the paradox of Tracy McGrady, T-Mac, one of the most gifted two-way wings the NBA has ever seen. McGrady's story is a study in contrast. The aesthetics were otherworldly: silky footwork, effortless elevation, and a jumper that looked like calligraphy. The resume, however, is complicated by injuries and team circumstances. He doesn't often show up in all-time debates, but at his peak, his raw talent stood toe-to-toe with regular top 20 names. Let's rewind. Straight out of Mount Zion Christian Academy, the teenage McGrady entered the 1997 draft. Scouts drooled over the tools, size, length, and fluidity, but questioned his off-ball activity and NBA readiness. Toronto took him 9th. The first 2 seasons were rocky. Sparse minutes, modest box scores, a kid trying to find air in a grown man league. He coped the only way a gym rat knows, by studying tape and stealing tricks from the greats. Everything changed when Vince Carter arrived in 1998. Cousins by blood and twins by vibe, Vince became T-Mac's lighthouse. In year 3, McGrady burst through the rotation and never looked back. 15 points a night, real playmaking, real rim protection, nearly 2 blocks per game from a wing. You could already see the template: a long, springy scorer who could moonlight as a weak side center and a primary stopper. Toronto wanted to keep him, but McGrady wanted to see how high he could fly. He signed with the Orlando Magic and, in 2001, won Most Improved Player with one of the most dramatic leaps the league had seen. 26.8 points, 7.5 plus boards, over 5 assists, elite impact metrics, and 43 wins without a fully healthy Grant Hill. He also authored a vicious debut as a number, one option in the 2001 playoffs against a finals-caliber Milwaukee team, nearly 34 points per game with strong defense on Glenn Robinson. It ended in a first-round loss, but the tape screamed superstar. The next season, he widened his arsenal. The three-pointer volume climbed, the efficiency held. He played through back spasms and still dragged Orlando to the postseason, dropping 31 a night in another tight first round. Again, brilliant individual shot making. Again, out in 5. Then came 2002 to 2003, peak T-Mac. 32 points per game to win the scoring title, on efficiency that exceeded league average by a mile during a defense-heavy era. The most mind-bending part wasn't the scoring, it was the control. With a massive usage and assist load, McGrady kept his turnovers absurdly low. That tells you how compact and economical his game was. He didn't over-dribble. He preferred to catch, rise, and punish. He hunted advantages with timing and angles rather than volume of dribbles. Let's talk craft. McGrady's jump shot was a masterclass in minimalism. The turnaround, catch at the elbow, quick back-to-basket seal, rotate to face, rise with no extra fluff. Clean mechanics, repeatable rhythm, and a mid-range hit rate that justified the shot profile. The one-dribble pull-up off a rub screen, use a teammate as a brush, glide sideways, lift. The signature rocker step into a snappy gather and retreat. One probing bounce, a hint of drive, then a fluid pullback into rainbow arc. He looked like he was spending pennies while everyone else burned dollars. That economy carried into his driving game. No wasted crossovers, just one blinding first step, long strides, and the rim. And yes, the showman lived in him. The off-glass to self-dunk wasn't just an all-star gimmick. He'd do it in live games because he could. The 2003 playoffs delivered his closest brush with a narrative rewrite. Orlando, an 8th seed in name only, stormed to a 3-1 lead over top-seeded Detroit. McGrady opened the series with 43, then 46. When Ben Wallace's knee calmed down, Chauncey Billups found his rhythm, and a long-armed rookie named Tayshaun Prince entered the fray. The tide turned. McGrady battled finger and leg knocks, the minutes piled up, and Detroit's depth ground Orlando down. The Magic fell in 7. The box scores glow, the bracket doesn't. From there, frustration with Orlando's direction pushed a split. Houston called, Yao Ming waited. The 2004 to 2005 Rockets gave fans a front row seat to how a true perimeter engine plays. The highlight burned into basketball memory. 35 points in 13 seconds, a lightning strike in human form. Systemically, McGrady leaned even harder into high IQ pick and rolls. He read traps early, slipped pocket passes to Yao, and sprayed kickouts on time. He was the Rockets' de facto organizer, not just their closer. The numbers prove the appetite. In that era, he ran more ball screens than most star wings, yet he still didn't dribble the air out of the ball. He kept the gears meshing. The postseason remained his proving ground and his prison. In 2005 against Dallas, he averaged 31-7-7 and made life miserable for Dirk Nowitzki. The series slipped away amid controversy and thin margins. In 2008, with Yao sidelined, he went down swinging against Utah, 40 points, 10 boards, 5 dimes in the final stand, while playing through pain. Time and again, the performances were worthy. The outcomes were not. Why didn't he ever clear the first round as a primary star? Some say composure, some say leadership. The cleaner answer is variance plus context. Small series are coin toss machines. Orlando's rosters were often outgunned. Houston's windows kept slamming shut on injuries. With a longer runway or a healthier spine, maybe regression to the mean would have finally landed on his side. We'll never know. The body ultimately wrote the last chapters. A congenital curve in his spine made back trouble a ticking clock. Knee issues and other knocks took the rest. Post-surgery, the lift waned, the pacing dulled, and the scoring dropped. Stints in New York, Detroit, Atlanta, even a late cameo in San Antonio could not rewind the tape. There were off-court frictions too, communication misfires with teams, tense medical decisions, and a public posture that sometimes leaned on the conditional. I could have, if only. That tone, fair or not, followed him and colored the discourse. He admitted later that his training intensity dipped after the Orlando years. Whether that's candor or bravado, it adds to the mythology and the what-ifs. And the Kobe question? In the early 2000s snapshot, the gap is slimmer than many remember. McGrady's regular season efficiency and ball control shine. Kobe counters with superior health, sustained playoff gauntlets, and more chances to stack fourth quarter versus elite defense moments. At their apexes, the duel was art against art. Different palettes, same masterpiece tier. So where does that leave Tracy McGrady? He is the rare player whose eye test and number test both scream all-time talent, while the trophy case and playoff ledger whisper incomplete. He was a terror in single coverage, a genius at finding and creating mismatches, a willing passer with quarterback vision, and when fully engaged, a nightmare defender at the point of attack or as a weak side eraser. He also embodied the fragility of greatness. Health, timing, roster fit, and a dash of luck can recalibrate a legacy as fast as a crossover. If you want a single sentence, here it is. Tracy McGrady played basketball like a poem, graceful, economical, and unforgettable. And even if the brackets never crowned him, the peak was high enough to touch the stars. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, tap follow. There's more hoops history on the way.